Alright, so welcome back to the second part of our tutorial. Now let's create a camera by going to Layer, New, Camera, and make it 50mm and name it Render Cam. Alright, now select it. Okay, and move out just like that. And let's see. Let's actually shut off the window so that we can see. Align the camera. Okay, so maybe a little bit more to that. To the left. Like that. And I guess that looks pretty good. Alright. Maybe we have to move again the wall or to the right side. That's probably pretty good. Alright, great. So now let's animate the camera. So switch to the top view and hit P and keyframe the position. Oh, make sure we are on the first frame. Hit P and let's say 21. The next keyframe. And now simply push the camera all the way back. Let's check the position by switching to the render cam. And that looks pretty good. Pretty good. Now let's bring down the height like that, and maybe even more. Zoom even more. Okay, so great. That looks really great. Okay, so that is our animation. Now select both and let's drag that up and click right mouse button, assist, and you still can't see that obviously. So right mouse click and easy ease. So if we switch to the graph view, you can see the animation, the path will fade in, so it is slow and then it will be fast. This is the fastest point here, the extreme point, and then it will fade out and become very slow. So I would say let's switch to the standard view and let's turn wireframe on so that we can get a first impression of the animation and its speed. So click RAM preview. Alright, so let's play that. So you can see this is the window here, these are the columns, this is the room, here are the doors and the samurai armor. So that looks pretty good, I would say. So now comes the head and now it gets slower. Great. That's pretty good. Turn off wireframe. Alright, so now we have the camera. Let's animate the window and the door. So let's select the windows and hit R for the rotation and scale, or even no, and make sure to select both and keyframe the y-axis, the y rotation, and let's say we want the window to be opened right here, or let's drag them here, and the window shall be open complete here. So let's open them like let's make them separately. So that one again separately. So like I would say like that. So 50, and type in -50 for the other window. Okay, so now we make a mistake. It has to be, obviously, we rotated it in the false direction. So make it -50, and that one 50. Okay, so now it will animate correctly, and there you go. So like that, and select again these 4 keyframes and select keyframe assistant easy ease, or simply hit F9. Let's see how these animate. So solo these 2. Let's see preview. Okay, so that looks pretty good, I guess. And we could probably open them even more, I guess 60 maybe, and that plus 60. All right, that looks pretty good. And never forget to save out the project. Now, when we come in here, the door shall open as well. So let's find it. Hit P for that one, and let's say it shall open right here. So keyframe that, and let's say for about like that, 5 seconds, and bring it back here like so. So when it comes in, maybe make that even when the window is still in, like that, or even before that. So like that. Now solo the door and the window. Now let's check out this animation. So zooms in, the window opens, and then the door opens. Great. Looks pretty good. Save that out again. Now that we've animated the camera, that we have animated the window, the door, let's move on to the lighting process. So I will switch to a custom view here and shut off the solo mode. I will create, let's make some room here, and we want to create a light representing the sun that shines from here inside the room, and we will create a second light which will will be an environment light, so an environmental light that lightens everything. Let's go to layer, new, light, and spotlight, so intensity over 700, and we will play around with these now. Make sure it casts shadows. Hit OK. Okay, so now let's position that correctly. Okay. So let's switch to the right. And this is our light. I would say like so. And like that. Okay. Switch to the render cam. Move in. And that looks pretty good. Okay, so like that, I guess. Now, we have to enable certain options for all the components here. So, open the material options, and now here we've got some options. Now, turn on cast shadows, so you can see here now a shadow is created. So this wall throws shadow, and let's see, accepts shadows, turn that on. Okay, and the same for that one. Open the material options, cast shadows, yes. Okay, the same for that one, and let's switch off the camera so that we can see what's going on here. And the column here, that casts shadows as well, and that one, turn on cast shadows, and for that little guy as well. So turn on cast shadows, and for our samurai as well. Let's see what else do we have that could cast shadow. I guess that's all. So now what we shall have, oh, I forgot the top wall. Let's see, where's the top wall? Let's switch that on. Switch that on, and let's move that down like so. Okay, so like that. Okay, and maybe rotate that around even more. jump to the light settings and open the cone angle, so that angle here. And let's see. Let's lower the darkness of the shadows. Okay. Maybe even more. And let's see. What about that? I guess we could make that, keep that amount short. Okay. So next, there are few other material options that have to be set. So let's open the material options again, and light transmission. Now you can see that is really a very, very great option. It says how transparent an object is, and as you could probably think about it, this door, it is made of paper type of yes, material, and that has to be a little, or not a little, but almost transmitted. And so make it even pretty bright, because that obviously diffuses or reflects light. So, and it, you know, it creates a great contrast, the samurai dark and this very light. Okay, let's 23, and let's put that to the others as well. Open the material options and type in 23. Okay, and again we can always adjust those values, and the same for that door. So material options, light transmission, 23. All right, great. Now maybe we could even turn on the light transmission to those paintings, because they are a little transparent, I guess, as well. So open that, and maybe, okay, but that it's not really influenced by that, but maybe we can turn on the transparency. Okay, it doesn't have any effect. Okay, right. Okay, now what do we got here? Now that's our sunlight, so to say, and let's maybe adjust it even more. Go to light settings, and let's turn the cone feather value up. Even more. And bring that down. Cone angle. Maybe brighter a little bit. Okay, I think we forgot to switch on cast shadows for that one. Yes. So now you can see that's looking pretty good. Okay, so we have only this gap here with light, and as we move on in the animation, you can see how that opens up. So that looks pretty good. Okay, now let's create let's create an environmental light, an environment light. So new light, switch to ambient light. It's called ambient light, okay. And lower that down. Yes, that is good. Okay, so now you can see that the room is filled with light as well. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Alright. Now let's take a look at the samurai here and play around with his material options, and maybe he shall also light transmit a little bit. So like that, I guess. Okay. Switch off the save title. So that looks pretty good. Okay. And as you can see, when the door shuts down, the samurai becomes darker as well. Just take a look at him. Now he is here. He is bright, but now if it shuts down, he becomes darker. Okay, so that's pretty good. And you can see that looks good. Now let's play around even more with the settings. So let's choose the ground, open its material options, and now let's take a look at Shininess and Specular. So let's bring that down and turn that value up. Maybe even more. Make it brighter, so it's really looking as if it is the sun. And ambient. Let's check out the ambient light. So make it, increase it a little bit. And let's see. No, metal, that's not for us. And we can even create spotlights, so to say, or specular points. So that looks pretty good. Okay. And same for that coin solid. Open up the material options and shininess, maybe bring that, and specular up. So that looks pretty good. Okay, and let's take a look at the samurai armor. Specular up. Let's specular up. Let's see, and the shininess. So that looks pretty good. Okay. And let's switch to the doors. Play around with the diffusion. Make them brighter. And 35. Same for that one. 50. 55. Okay. So that looks pretty good. Okay. Now, let's check out the top walls material options. Let's play around with that. Yes. So increase the light transmission as well, and specular too, and lower shininess like that. Alright, so that looks pretty good. And maybe bring that even down. Like that. Okay. Maybe bring the transmission a little bit down. Okay. And let's take a look at the light, at the first light, and make the cone feather, all the shadow diffusion, turn that on. And I would say that looks good. Maybe a little bit less. 52 maybe. Yes. So that looks pretty good. Alright. Now we have to turn on cast shadow. Let's see how that looks. Okay. Now let's play around with diffusion. Shininess. Or better, keep it, turn it off. Let's say that's better. And now we've turned off that. One of the doors. Didn't want to do that. Okay. So like that. Increase the transparency. Like that. So now we're actually adjusting the material options. And let's turn off cast shadows, because I've noticed here some awful looking spheres. Okay, let's bring that down maybe. Like that, so that the light doesn't disturb. Well, we can obviously play around with the light's position. So let's take a look at the light here, and let's play around with that. Make it third. And let's see if we move that down. This will disappear, obviously. Okay, so that's great. Alright, so we've lightened up the scene now. So what could we do? Now we could probably first bring that to half resolution, and let's give those a shadow. So switch to the standard and type in or not. I can find it through perspective. Yes, and it's called drop shadow, right? And as you can see here, the shadow, the distance, make it a little bit, and feather out the shadow, and copy that and paste it to that one. Make it maybe a little darker. Feathering out distance like that, I guess. Okay, so I guess we finished the lightning process. Now we could certainly put more lights into the scene and adjust it, but for now I think that looks pretty good. Now what I would like to do is put here some lights. Let me see, or maybe even adjust that again a little bit, just a little bit. And let's bring the cone angle down. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Now let's create some lights for this area. And I guess we have to bring back the cone here, the concrete texture. So go back here. Or it's there it is. It just looks a little bit out there. So from this angle, I think it's better. And that's it. Look at that. Down. And the same for bring those back down even more. And let's switch to render cam. Now we solved the problem. And let's switch to big screen and create some lights for the front wall. So light new, and we will probably create a spotlight, make it more in the wider angle. Okay, bring it out. And let's switch to the top view. Right, and bring that here. To render cam. And that is probably too light. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Very interesting. I guess. So yes, it does the job. Okay, so now it goes inside here, and now look, the spotlight certainly shines into the room, and the room concurrently gets lightened as well. So what we have to do is we have to turn on cast shadows for these guys. So go to material options, cast shadows, and for this one as well, cast shadows. Check out if they're all on. Yes, yes, and yes, great. Okay. So we got a little bit of shadow here. So now let's see how that looks. Now that looks great. Now that looks great, right? So the door opens, and there you go. Okay. And we could even make the first light even brighter, I guess. Even brighter. And the shadow diffusion, pump it up. So that looks great. Really strong contrast. Great. Okay. And now let's create some sort of forest or background image. And I have a nice image of a Japanese garden that I took. So let's bring that out. Let's make it a 3D layer. And let's turn on some material, or turn off some material options. So turn off accepts shadows, turn off accepts lights, and bring it back. And let's switch again to the top view to adjust it properly. Bring that up. Let's switch to quarter as resolution, and bring that here. Let's see, render cam, and that looks great. Now we have this plate in the background. Now we could probably adjust it, scale it down, and bring it up. Look where we got a nice, but I guess this pinkish, this pink tree looks very beautiful. And now let's put some effects on it. So one is the glow effect. Drop it on that, and let's put that to 100, and the glow radius to 63. Let's bring that to half, and the glow intensity to 7. Okay, and now let's put the effect light race. Okay, and let's adjust that. 1000, maybe that's too bright, but we don't know. Just take that, bring it up. And play around with the settings, I guess. Gonna make it maybe not that bright. Or even 300, 350. Great. And down like that. Okay. So we have a background as well. And let's put a fast blur on that because it's too sharp. So let's see. Let's say 6 or so is pretty good. Okay. So that looks pretty good, doesn't it? Okay. Go to standard. Let's see. Okay. Nice. As far as I'm concerned, I'm pretty satisfied with the result. Now, the last thing is depth of field. Now, depth of field obviously increases the render time radically. So let's use it very limited and in special circumstances only. And let's see. So we can animate depth of field. Let's solo. First, let's save that out. And let's solo the window. Okay, and let's give that a name. Always name your components. Now, I didn't do that because of time. Left. And that is the right window. Right, left window. Okay. Solo them, and now go to render. Switch to the big screen first. And select the render cam. And bring that down to half. And now go to the camera options, pop them up, and turn on depth of field. Okay, so here now you can play around with the blur level. So it says how much the image is blurred out. So let's bring that down to about 60. Let's play around with the focus distance. So that says how wide the camera focuses. Let's bring that up. So you see that's probably failed, it's not correct. So let's adjust that and bring that. Okay. Let's bring that up. Okay. Great. Now let's turn on some of these concrete textures as well. Let's turn, oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay, so let's turn them on. Okay, so we got our wall here, and okay, so now let's play around with the focal length, and we can obviously animate it. So create a keyframe, and let's see, let's make that bring that down. Okay, so that is out of focus. That's looking pretty good. Now let's go in there, and as you can see, it's now out of focus. So let's go inside here and bring it up like so, and the background is blurred, still blurred, so let's go here, and that is blurred, obviously, still blurred, and here it has to focus on the samurai only. So let's see if we can get that. We can adjust it. So bring it down, all the way down. Hopefully we will be able to do that. Okay. Oops, that was too much. So play around with that. So that looks pretty good. And lower the blur level as well. Okay, let's save that out. And let's turn these off. And let's see how that looks now. Now what is still on solo. Now you got the samurai on focus and the background out of focus. Now you can also always, of course, play around with depth of field and lower the blur level, for instance. But I would increase it in this distance so that it becomes obvious what is in focus and what is out of focus. Okay, now what could we add? Maybe we could, alright, I forgot that. Now let's turn off the depth of field for just a moment so that we can render faster. So turn that off, put that to third resolution, and let's animate the light, because obviously when the door is still shut, the light here has to be even darker. So let's go to our ambient light, hit T for intensity, and keyframe it, and type in 0. So it's pretty dark. And then when it starts to open, type in 30. Okay, so the light animates as well. Okay. Looks pretty good. Okay. Now we have to adjust that light here in front of the wall. So let's see what we can do here. Maybe we shall go down with the shadow darkness, I guess. And let's see, intensity maybe. Bring it up, or no, even make it maybe a little bit bluish. Or no, that wasn't good. That was not a good try, I guess. Maybe greenish. Some sort of exotic. And down with that. Shadow darkness. Okay. And let's see. Let's switch to the top view again. And to the right view. And bring that nearer. Like so. Switch to the render cam. And make it like that. And open light settings. And turn up the cone angle. Oh, that was too much. 78. Okay. And maybe the light, the color, threw it back to something like that, I guess. Okay. Make it maybe adjust it so that it's not, you know, like that. You have to play around with it so that it doesn't show, so that it doesn't light up the interior room. So that is kind of tricky. Oh, that looks good. Now that's pretty good. It's very nice. Bring that down a little bit. Like so. And scale that down. And I know where these rays comes from. They come from obviously from, let me think, this. We have to lower the transmission. So lower the transmission. And you will see it is gone. Increase it and it will show up. So we have to lower those. I'll lower those. And the diffusion. Alright, I guess that looks pretty good. Okay. So, here's the door. Let's turn on depth of field. And of course, it renders. And now this one. This frame. The interior. Okay, so I think this end result is quite acceptable. And as you can see, you can do a lot with After Effects, with only After Effects. And I hope you like this tutorial, and I hope that this was useful to you in any way. And yes, hopefully I will see you guys next time. So, bye bye.